welcome to Sparkle and Chill. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Today, I did move it, okay. Today we're going to be working on Gus. I've got it sideways here because it's just too far of a reach up there. Makes it more difficult. So we've only got 2 more rows, 2 and once I get done with this, just 2 more squares here. And I'm really excited. This is like going well. I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday. I know, dangerous place when I'm in a no-buy, right? I did good though. I bought these because these are the things that I use. They used to be $1.50 each. They're now $2 each, but you can find them and that's still cheaper than on Amazon. And Amazon, I think you can get, I think they're probably about $3 each on Amazon. So you can still get them cheaper at Hobby Lobby. And I found them by the in the beads section, which was interesting. And I found something else I'm going to work on at a later time. Thought I'd show this now. I found some fun beads, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not. Okay, so I had bought the glue and some magnets to fix my Diamond Art Club rose. So these are beads. This is the Diamond Art Club one I got in an old toolkit. These are the beads I found. Isn't that cool? And they have white ones and pink ones and various different ones. I'm gonna make some, and they had butterflies in this. I mean, in this whole thing of these little beads. It says $7.99, but beads are always 40% off there, I guess was what the sign said. So 40% off. Look at that pretty butterfly. So anyways, I'm gonna make some cover minders, and I'm gonna fix this cover minder. So anyways, I found that today and I thought that was really fun. And I had already bought the stuff to make cover minders because I needed to fix this when it broke. And I still have one of the magnets, but I don't know, I lost a magnet. I have a feeling it's stuck to something here because it's got to be in this area. I just can't find it. So I bought this little thing of, oops, this little thing. Can you tell there's magnets in here? That's funny. I bought this thing of magnets and I'm going to make some cover minders. I bought those a while back when that magnet broke and I just haven't gotten around to doing it. But I was in Hobby Lobby and I looked at this and I was like, this looks really fun. So I didn't buy any paintings, but I did get, where did that go? I just had it sitting right here. I bought some Christmas tags, and they're diamond painting Christmas tags. And I only got them because I'm going to use them for Christmas tags, obviously. And they were $1.90. Christmas stuff, okay. Can you guys explain to me why there's Christmas stuff at Hobby Lobby in August? I mean, we haven't even hit, not to mention we haven't even hit Halloween, but we're not even close. I mean, school hasn't even started yet, and they've already got Christmas stuff, but I thought this was a good idea for that. So I spent, let's see, I spent $4, I spent $6 basically, and I perused the stuff that they had there. But I thought, oh, and I bought the beads. So I think these were about maybe $4 for something. But no big paintings because we're not doing that right now. And it was there were some cute things. There were definitely some cute things, but I just, you know, I have enough. I do think the little projects like that, the little, for the tags for Christmas gifts, I think that's just going to add a touch to my Christmas giving this year because people know I diamond paint. So, all right, let's get into it. I don't even know what I'm talking about today. Actually, I do. I got, so I guess this is made, see if those will just sit right there. I have a usually I don't have any like time frame that I have to be off of my doing my videos, but I have to take little Miss Millie to get her shots, or the last part of her shots. They wouldn't give her her rabies shot a couple weeks ago when I took her. What was supposed to be her last shots. They said she was too little to have all of them at once, which I was glad that they did. And so now I am having to take her again today to go get that done. So, and that's fine with me. I'd much rather have us be safe than have her have some severe reaction because we did it too fast. So, but what I wanted to talk about, and I had this on my mind, but I was forgetting what I was thinking about, was my last video on the how much is too much. I got such overwhelming responses to this that I kind of wanted to follow up on it because people brought up things that even I didn't really think too much about. And I'm glad that I was able to bring up a discussion time after time. If you guys read the notes that were left, or the messages that were left in the comments, you'll see what I mean. More and more people were just glad that somebody's talking about this topic because, you know, we're fed this, you know, we're everybody's in this buy, but we're in one of the worst economies we've had in years. And the idea to keep buying stuff that we really don't need, that is making us broke. I really resonated with one lady who said, you know, the only thing she really spends money on is her diamond painting. And she's now going to start saving up for a trip. And I thought, you know, that's awesome. Because I don't really spend a lot of money on anything else either. And I'm also just wanting to save for a trip. I want to go do something fun. And diamond painting is great, but I don't want to get to, you know, a point where it's like, gosh, I can't do anything because I spent all my money diamond painting, you know, when I've got 25, well, I've got all these kits, right? And so there's no reason to get any more right now. And here's the thing. The situation with Diamond Art Club and the way they're doing things, the way that they're, you know, releasing and the scarcity thing, I think is backfiring. I think that a lot of people are starting to evaluate and realize, why am I getting upset? Why is this, you know, why is this a thing? You know, there's a lot of other companies, and granted, you know, people can deny it or not. The truth is that DAC has some of the best kits. You know, they just do. Their renderings are awesome, you know, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of other places that also have good kits. I kind of got spoiled because there was a time when all I ever did was Amazon kits, right? And I didn't know the difference. Sometimes I wish I didn't know the difference now because, you know, I spent a lot of money on these things. But I guess what I'm trying to say is the topic that I spoke on, and it was just an idea that came to me because I was like looking at my stash going, what have I done? What in the heck? I'm trying to figure out where to put things. There's nowhere to put it. And then I realized in posting that video how many people were thinking the same thing, or thinking it but didn't really put it into words, or hadn't really processed the thought you know, sometimes it helps to have somebody speak out and say something, then you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I've been feeling, but I didn't know what to call it. And I was watching, there's a guy, I don't know his name, and I don't know the name of his channel, but he's funny to me. He talks about the overconsumption, and he does videos on the influencers that are about, you know, stocking their refrigerator and doing all these weird restocks where they literally have nothing in their refrigerator. When they're done, it's full of junk food and soda pop and all this stuff, just all this stuff you really just don't need at all, and all these different containers to divide your refrigerator into. And I have to say, it was gosh, probably about 5 years ago, that somebody that I really liked had done the dividing things in her refrigerator with these containers. And so I tried it, and I still have 2 of them in my refrigerator because they do help with certain things, but having those in your refrigerator actually makes less room in your refrigerator because you can't throw in odd shaped like leftover containers and stuff like that. So it ended up not working well for me the way that I originally did it. But I do have one that has, you know, certain condiments in it, because it just makes it so that they're, you know, I can pull that thing out and I have all the condiments. So that makes sense, but doing the whole refrigerator like that just really honestly didn't work for me. So anyways, all that to say, the conversation and the comments I got were so meaningful, because it was validation for how I was feeling, right? Have you ever, you know, you've been thinking something, you've been feeling something, and you're like, should I say this out loud? What are people going to think? Are they going to, you know, personally, you guys probably, if you've watched me at all, you know, I don't really have much of a filter. I really don't care what people think about what I'm saying. I mean, I do, but I don't, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not like I don't want people, as that came out wrong. I'm not one that, even when I was in school, when I was in high school and junior high, and kids were worried about what other people were wearing, I really wasn't. You know, we didn't have money. I wasn't getting the latest and greatest because my mom just couldn't afford it, and I understood that. And I myself, when I started spending my own money on my school clothes and stuff, I wasn't going to spend that kind of money for a pair of jeans. I had better things I wanted to do with my money, and so I didn't join in that whole thing. And I got some razzing for it. I used to just tell people I choose to spend my money on better things. You know, it doesn't matter what you're wearing as long as it's clean and it's presentable. You know, it doesn't have to be name brand. I've never liked name brands. I mean, a few things that I have that are name brand, but for the most part, I've never been one that had to have the name brand stuff. Number one, we couldn't afford it. And number two, it was important at certain times in my life. There was a few times that I really wanted, like I really wanted a pair of Nike shoes, Nike tennis shoes at one point in junior high. I wanted a pair so bad that my sister gave me her cast-offs that she had bought, and my best friend was yelling at me, "You can't wear those shoes are too small." But they were too small, and they hurt my feet, but I wore them because I wanted to be like my friends. And it wasn't until like I had this big blister one day and I realized I really can't wear these shoes, and I kind of got over it. But you know, have you ever done that? Has anybody ever, like, it's going, or by the time we were able to afford it, you know, when it's going out, so they're on sale, and then you get it and you go to school and it's no longer popular. Oh, that's last year's trend. That just used to bug me, because that was really the only time I'd ever get stuff that was like that, was like when it would finally go on sale, and then when it finally went on sale, there was something new that came out, you know? So, anyways. But I think that in today's economy, looking at how we're spending our money and how to be, you know, good with that, and realizing I don't need a closet under my bed, under my we don't need it all, you know, right? I mean, and so I want to thank you guys that commented, because it was really good feedback, and it helped reinforce what my thoughts were, and really helped me go, yeah, I really think that I'm onto something here. And not only for myself, but hopefully it helped other people to see that maybe they're not the only ones thinking this. You know, we don't have to have the latest and greatest. And I think I mentioned to somebody in their comment that, you know, maybe instead of having to have every single one, you know, there's people that unbox them, there's people that do them. Maybe when you're working on a specific kit, you do a video on it, other people are going, oh, that looks so pretty and so nice, and now I don't have to do it because I'm seeing how it's done. And you know, you live kind of vicariously through somebody else, and that way, you know, we're kind of sharing what we're doing. I don't think there's any more of that one. So I think that's important, an important distinction that that we have to start making, is that it's okay. It really is okay to just not have the latest and greatest. And here's the thing: when they did the drop for the anniversary sale, they stated, or somebody had come out, Dak had made the announcement that things that sold out right away would be restocked within 90 days. So you could be sure that in the next 90 days they were going to restock those items. Now, do they always restock everything? No, and that's why people buy. That's their whole marketing ploy, is you need to buy now or you might not be able to get it. And I think they're realizing, or I hope they're realizing, that people are just going elsewhere because they can. You know, there's a lot of other companies out there, but I've also seen that some of them are doing, like, there's the Dreamer Design now has the, you know, and I don't know if this is a new thing because I never followed them, but I saw a post the other day, they're dropping on Saturday or something on the thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why are they doing it this way? Why don't they just put them up when they put them up, not put a time limit, not put a, you know, just put them up as they put them up, and people will find them, you know, when they find them, instead of making it a big production. Maybe you release, you know, throughout the week you'd release different paintings instead of doing everything all at once as a free-for-all. Let's, you know, get everybody in a frenzy. But I think the reason that these companies are doing this is because they're seeing the massive success of it. If I make it, in their minds, if I make a drop only on Saturdays from this hour to this hour, and I have only this many things, and I make it a big deal that these are, you know, only a limited supply, then that limited supply is going to disappear pretty darn quick. And people buy it hook, line, and sinker. And then they buy too fast without really thinking through the monetary problems. I mean, I looked at 1 month that I bought, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. 1 month, in one of the months that I bought kits, I spent as much as a car payment. This was a while back, but when I looked at my orders, I was like, dang, what did I do that for? That's a lot of money. So, I mean, that's, I think, the fear that I have. Not just, you know, but we don't even realize what we're doing till it's done. And then, because it's impulse, and they know how to get us on impulse. All these companies do. They know how to get your impulses, and, you know, and we love to chase shiny things, you know, pun intended. So I'm thankful. I just wanted to, you know, talk a little bit about that. That was a really good example to me of one, getting a conversation going around things that really need to be said, you know. I'm thankful that I learned years ago not to use credit cards and not to buy anything on credit. And the reason for that is because it's so easy to spend money that you really don't have when you're using a credit card. Or you're using, and they've made it even easier, and that now you can buy it through the app there in, you know, 3 or 4 months. I don't know what it was that they were offering me, and I'm like, no, I don't want your credit. Thank you very much. Because that's a trap. It's a trap. Because if you buy it this month or this week on credit, and then next week something drops that you really want, and you buy something next week on credit, before long, you're paying premium price every single, I mean, it's going to get pretty expensive pretty fast. And I don't know, I didn't look at their terms or anything, but I'm sure there's some kind of consequence for not paying it on time. You know, there's probably a huge, I mean, they may not have, I don't know if they've got, if it's interest free, but then when you miss a payment, then what is it? somebody needs to go read the fine print and find out what that means. If you get it on that, you know, that buy now, pay later thing that they have up there, what's the penalty if you miss a payment? I'm kind of interested to know. If anybody knows, can you put it in the comments below? What is the penalty for using their buy now, pay later thing if you miss a payment? Because that's the thing that we need to know. I remember back when it was a big thing, it was payday loans that you can get. You probably can still get them. They just don't. But it was like loan shark money. It was like, oh yeah, it only costs you $20 for every $100 that you borrow, but till payday. But then you've spent money, and then you're in this huge cycle of constantly needing to borrow, and then before long it's out of hand, and you owe way more money than you ever borrowed, and you thought you were getting a pretty cheap loan, but in the long term things compound and get out of control. My mom had a neighbor who was an older person, and her kids were awful. Her kids were borrowing. She didn't have money. She was on Social Security, and her kids didn't seem to understand that, and they would borrow money from her, and the way she paid for it to get them money was she would take out these payday loans. And then we were talking one day, and she needed my mom to give her a ride to the payday place to go pay the bill because she didn't have a car. And then I started talking to her. I'm like, well, what do you need to go to the payday place for? And she said, I got to pay my loan. And I'm like, well, what are you borrowing money for? And she tells me. I was aghast. I could not believe her kids were doing this to her. So I was like, you need to stop lending your kids money. You need to just tell them, no, you don't have it. I can't, they won't, you know. She was afraid of losing their love because she didn't have money for them. And I'm like, they're just using you. They're not coming to visit you. The only time they're coming around is when they want something. Cut them off. Just cut them off. And she couldn't do it. And I felt so bad for her because that is abuse. That is huge abuse. If you have somebody in your family who you love, but they obviously don't love you enough, because if they understood what kind, I mean, she was using her Social Security that was very small to also support them, which is ridiculous. They should have been helping her. So, yeah, that just made me so mad. But these are the things people get into for just wanting to have extra things. And whether it's diamond paintings or fabric, I used to have a huge, and here's my lesson, and one of the things I really thought about this week. So I used to quilt, and I quilted for like 20 years. And I had a stash of fabric that was pretty awesome, actually. I was involved with a quilting group for about 22 years or so. And we did a quarterly fabric exchange. And what we did was we got fat quarters, which are, I think it's 18 by 22 inch squares of fabric. And it's a kind of a standard in quilting for a measurement that you might get to work on, a certain amount of blocks. You get like 2 or 3 different blocks with a couple different, so usually between 6 and 12 of those you can, make a quilt. So we would have a theme every quarter, and we would all go and buy 3, there was 12 of us in the group, we would go and buy 3 yards of fabric, cut it into 12 fat quarters is what they were called, and then we would exchange. And it was great fun, but I had fat quarters coming out my ears. Can you imagine 22 years of that kind of collecting? And I almost bought no other fabric other than occasionally I'd buy a background fabric for something. But I had bins and drawers, and I actually, when I started diamond painting big time, and it was at the end of my cancer, I had gotten through my my treatment and everything, and I had started diamond painting, and I had no room for my diamond paintings, and I really wasn't sewing anymore and hadn't really sewn since I'd moved in. And I called one of my friends. I'm like, do you want my fabric? Because I'm getting rid of it. And she's like, well, I don't need it because I have more than I need, but I can donate it to the guild, and they use it to make, you know, baby quilts and quilts for people. And I'm like, perfect. So she came and picked all of it up, and I got rid of it. And I started thinking about that too. I mean, am I just buying diamond paintings for for me to donate to somebody? You know, I mean, I'm great with donating things, but I don't want to buy things knowing that that's just what's going to happen to it. It's just, I'm going to lose interest, and then I'm going to give it all away and have spent how much money? That's the thing we got to think about. How much can we actually do? And then on top of that, you know, how much money do we really want to put towards something? You know, there's other things I'm sure we all like to do besides just diamond painting. And I want to start spending some of my money on experiences, going and doing things. And so I like the idea of taking the money I was spending on diamond painting and throwing it into an account. Every time I get tempted or I think I want to do it, I'm just going to throw that $75 right into a savings, right? If every time we decide we're going to do, like we would do a Diamond Art Club haul, and you got to spend that $75 to get that free shipping. Every time I get the itch, I'm just going to start throwing that $75 into a vacation fund, you know? How fast would our vacation funds build if that's what we did? Think about it. $75. How often are you buying? Are you buying weekly? Are you buying monthly? Are you buying bi-weekly? How often do you buy? And if you do, how much is that if you're doing it the way I was doing it, which was I would buy the one main one that I really wanted and then find something else I wanted too, so that I could round it up to that $75 so I could get the free shipping. Plus I'd use a coupon code, and that would give me the ability to get free shipping. So I would literally be able to get 2 kits for that $75, you know, or a kit and some minis. That's how I got a lot of my minis. A lot of my mini kits I bought because I needed that, you know, $13 more or whatever to, you know, it's never the right amount. You always end up paying more than you wanted to, because to get that free shipping, you had to do that, you know. So sometimes instead of just paying $75, all of a sudden you're at $80 because there's nothing there and they do that on purpose. That 72 mark is not just random. They don't have but a few kits that are just $72, and a lot of them are just below that $72 if you notice. It's just below the $72 threshold, like it's $67 or $68, and then in order to get the free shipping, you got to add something else, and there's nothing to add that's going to just make it to that $75. So you've got to spend, you know, you got to buy a thing of minis, which is, you know, then, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if every time we get that urge to go and do a, you know, splurge, whether it's budget kits or DAC kits or wherever, if every time we got the urge and we found a painting that we were willing to purchase, if we just took the same money and put it away, within a short period of time, depending on how often you do that, you'd have enough for a vacation. That's what I'm doing. I'm saving to go on one heck of a vacation. And I think it's a good plan. And this week has been really fun. Seeing all of your comments, and I didn't get but the one video out this last week. I'm trying to get to where I have 2 videos done on the weekend, ready to go, so that one goes out on Tuesday and one goes out on Friday. just because I like to space mine out because my channel is small. It takes a while for things to really get shown around, and it gives it time to breathe enough for me to actually get videos. And I don't have time to do a video every day or a video every other day. It's not something I can do. I don't have time. And so that's something that, so the other thing that I was thinking about was even, you know, like I went to Hobby Lobby knowing I had seen a couple different videos of people buying different things, and I wanted to just see and look at them and see, you know, what, and I did find those gift tags, which I don't consider diamond painting, even though it's a diamond painting gift tags. It's not the same as going and spending, you know, $75 on a thing, and it's for gifts. It's going to make Christmas presents very personal for me, because people will go, oh, you did these and that, you know, it's just kind of a cute way to do something. And so, but what have you guys done this week? Were you able to stop yourself from the drop yesterday, which was Saturday? Today is Sunday. Did you even go to see what was dropping? I did go and look. And there wasn't anything that really interested me to begin with, so I was glad. But I kind of just want to get out of the habit of looking, and I didn't look at the time of the drop. I didn't look until, this is another way to kind of, you can still look and see what was there, is to wait until a few hours later and then look, and, you know, you'll see all the ones that, you know, are sold out and whatnot. And I'm wondering how long that's going to last. How long do you think it's going to last that they're going to be able to do drops, and every time the vast majority of everything sells out? I think I'd be curious to find out how many of each painting do they actually have on order. And the other thing that I noticed when I looked at it yesterday afternoon, was that several of them were pre-orders. They weren't right there ready to be delivered. So how does that work? If they're pre-orders, meaning they don't even have them in the works yet, why can't they just fulfill every order that would come through? Why couldn't every person who orders that kit get that kit and just have them create them until they've fulfilled the orders? That I don't understand. If it's a pre-order, why are they making it so they can only sell so many? Because it's a pre-order, so they can just say, if they get 100 orders, they can oh, we got 250 orders, so make 250 of them. Why don't they do that? I don't understand why they don't do that. Why don't they maybe drop 4 this week and 4 next week and just double the amount, or something? There's something's not right there. If it's a true pre-order, pre-orders are made to order, right? Isn't that what pre-order means? Am I right? So why are there people who aren't getting it, or they've been snatched out of their cart or whatever, if it's a pre-order? They haven't been made yet. So that doesn't make sense to me either. So any of you that are in that kind of thing, explain that to me. If it isn't a pre-order, that it's being ordered, like made to order, or pre-sale, I don't understand. And I also don't see why they're doing it that way, because then people are waiting sometimes months. I know I experienced it on a pre-order, and it kind of, not that it matters in some ways, because obviously, but then sometimes it does. There's people who they're only ordering, maybe they only have a few canvases, and they're ordering for their next painting that they're going to work on, and then they have to wait 3 or 4 months for it. So I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I know some people don't care, but I think there's probably more people who do care than are going to come out and say it, because of all the people who will defend it to the nth degree. Because I've seen that happen too, when people are saying, well, I kind of want to get it when I order it, you know. And then people are like, oh, I don't care, I have enough to work on. Well, that may be true. You might have enough to work on, but that's not everybody's experience. So I just wonder about that. You know, what... So anyways. So this last week was a little crazy. My work was crazy. I had a long week. And this weekend, I can't believe it's already Sunday. So the weekend's almost over. I hate that feeling when I'm going into, it's Sunday and the weekend's just gone. Anybody else feel that? I mean, it just seems to go faster and faster. I don't know if that's because I'm older or what the deal is, but the weekends just seem to just, it's like, oh, it was just Friday. Why am I having to go back to work? Part of it is I really wish I could retire already. You know, I really do. I know I can't just yet, but I've got a couple more years. But I'm itching for it. I am really itching for it, which is, you see all these people crashing out on the internet about not wanting to work, but these are young people. I'm like, you're too young to be feeling like that, you know. I've worked since I'm 16, and you know, so it's like, and I'm almost 60, so I kind of feel like it's a little different when you're almost 60 and saying you're ready to retire, and when you're in your 30s and you're like, I don't want to go to work. That I don't understand, because you kind of gotta work for. Even I gotta work, even though I don't want to. Sometimes I just wish I could not, but that is not reality, right? We gotta live in reality. Anyways, isn't this pretty? I love this painting. This painting has been so much fun. Somebody was talking about, who was talking about the other day that they just had certain paintings that made them so excited to go start on a painting. And this one, I do, and I think part of that's why I've kind of dragged my feet on this one a bit, because, well, I've had a lot going on, but also because I kind of really love working on this one. When I'm working on it, it's easy. I thought I wouldn't like the black, and I really, to be honest, I don't like the outer part, doing so much of the black on the outer part, but I don't really mind it in the painting itself. In the painting itself, it really is nice, because you can just start with that and then move outward. Which one did I do? Okay, so yeah, this is a lot of fun. Just the vast amount of colors, it's really going to be pretty when it's done. And then I'm going to give it away. And that's good, because I don't have room for every painting I do. That's the other thing, you know. One of the good things about the budget kits is, one, they're small. They can go in my portfolio. And I'll have to show that maybe in my next video, portfolios, how, you know, to store your diamond paintings. I learned recently about rolling them back up once they're done and putting them back in their box, at least for the ones that come in a box. And that helps protect them in storage, and I think that's a really good idea, and that's what I have started doing. Since the beginning of this year, I started doing that, because it really does work, and it doesn't seem to do anything to hurt them to do that. So that is what I have been doing. But then that still leaves me with a storage problem. I know some people will lie them flat underneath their bed in some kind of portfolio, but I don't have a portfolio big enough for these. And I have put some of them up on the wall. Where'd that one go? Here, I missed a red arrow. So what do you guys do with yours when you finish your kits? I either am giving them away, putting them in the box, or putting them in a portfolio, or putting them on the wall, depending on the painting. This one would look really great on the wall. I have my I'm Not Fat, I'm Fluffy on the wall, and that's sort of in a spot for me to rotate paintings in as I do them, so that I can have different ones out at different times. So I had Blitz in there before, and then I changed that over to I'm Not Fat, I'm Fluffy, and then if I was keeping this one would go up next. But I think what's going to go up next in that spot is Colleen from Pixie Sparkles. Now, she used to have her channel used to be called Colleen Diamond Paints, and she's now Pixie Sparkles, named after her beloved puppy who passed recently. And we're going to be doing a paint along probably in September. We haven't totally finalized everything, but probably in September, of Swinging Spring, I think it's the name of it. It's the Claudia McKinney with a little girl and her dog on the swing. We're going to be doing that as a paint along, and I'll post that on my Facebook page, and you guys can paint along if you want, if you have that one, and post your progress there. I think that will be fun. I haven't talked to her much about how we were going to go about doing it, but I think that would be fun. And then I'll talk more about that later when we get to it, but she did a paint along with another creator that was really great. The painting was really pretty, and I don't know that they're finished yet, but so far what I've seen of it is really gorgeous. So we're going to do something similar to that, with just a different painting. And I warned her that since it's a square, I'm probably going to be pretty slow, but I'm going to work on that, because I really, originally I had said I didn't want to do anything but a round, and we only had one round that we both had, which would have been fine to do, but I like the idea of challenging myself just a little bit, and saying, okay, I need to get out of my comfort zone a little bit, do something a little bit that challenges me, and might get me, if I can do a few of these bigger squares and get comfortable with them, then the squares that I have bought won't feel like such a burden. Because I have this weird thing, I don't want to get rid of them, but I also am kind of, oh, they're going to take so much time, which is fine to me. I'm not in this for speed. I'm really not. I mean, if a painting takes me 3 months or 4 months, then it takes me 3 or 4 months. But what I'm going to end up doing is taking breaks with smaller projects in between, which is why sometimes they take longer. And I'm hopeful that you guys don't mind seeing the same canvas over a period of time, because my goal is that people see that I'm actually doing the canvases. You know, that we're not just buying a bunch of canvases to throw in the closet. We're actually working on them. That's why I'm going to be shopping my closet, and I'm not going to be buying new things, because everything I have is new. It just hasn't been done yet, you know. I mean, some of them are discontinued, some of them you can still get, or aren't archived yet. And that's just going to have to be good enough, you know, because I'm not willing to continue down the road of overconsumption, at least till I get things down a bit. I think 6 months I'll reevaluate, and it may go to a year. It might be that in 6 months I've only gotten 3 paintings done that are, you know, in my stash that are, you know, these bigger. It could be that, and then why would I start buying again? Because I'm only down 3 kits, you know. So I think that is how I'm looking at it. I hope I didn't like overdo this subject, but I felt like I needed to, one, acknowledge the people that commented and had such good feedback for me. And I'm so thankful that there's a group of people here that aren't afraid to say what they're thinking out loud. I know I had a couple people make comments in the past, you know, I'd never say something negative against Dak. I have not said anything negative about Dak. That's not true at all. I have made comments on how I think things should be done, and I've always stated in my videos that I like their paintings. I just don't like their sales strategy, you know, and I see it for what it is. That's not saying something negative about them. So, is it going to gain me the ability to be the person who does sneak peeks? Probably not. But you know what? And originally that was something I wanted. I was like, oh, I'd love to be able to do the sneak peeks. But the more I have thought about it, you know, I am a person who speaks my mind. I'm the one who's going to tell the truth about something. And I'm not one to gush over a box. You know, every time I see a video and they spend 10 minutes on the box, I'm like, really? We all know what the box looks like. I don't need somebody to tell me all of these different things. And it's nice for somebody who's never seen them before, but let's face it, it's a box. And it's a nice box. I'm not saying anything negative about the box, but I also don't want to spend 10 minutes of my life watching a video going over a box. You know, it's a box. It's a great box. I do love the box that they come in. I like the fact that, although I wish they hadn't gone to the sleeve, I wish that they were the way they were when they just printed it on the box. But I understand why they've done that. It's probably more cost effective in some ways. Although, you know, because they can just have those available for each one. So I do get that, but they're kind of a pain now because you can't, they slide and everything, so it's hard to keep them on them once you've opened it. I've started not opening the package all the way, which is probably a good thing anyways, because it does keep some level of protection by keeping it in there. Are there any more of those? I don't think so. I have about, so what do you guys think? I try really hard to be respectful of things. Let's see, where's that? That's 18. I don't want to do, I have these threes and all the threes are ABs. I'm avoiding them right now because they take a little longer to place. And I've got literally 15 minutes and I'm going to have to scoop up the dog who's over sleeping in her bed. She's wasn't very happy that I decided to do this, but we're going to be going, and the thing where we get her shots, we have to sit outside and wait, and so I have to get there very early in order to get up close to the front of the line, so we're not there all day, but we'll still be there a good probably hour and a half or maybe longer. So I gotta make sure I have water for her and me. And take my chair and just decide to sit there and chill for a little while. It's kind of nice. I mean, everybody's there for the same reason. Got their dogs with them. Some of them have their cats. I've seen it the last couple times people have had their cats not in a crate, and they're supposed to bring the cats in a crate. And they're holding them like that's dangerous, even though they have a leash on them, which I think is kind of cute. But cats get kind of scared around dogs and stuff, and dogs tend to lunge. A dog that's normally really friendly sees a cat and they lunge for the cat, so it's always a little comical. This is coming along. I'm going to work some more on it tonight. I would like to get this whole section done if I could today. My hope was this weekend I was going to get this section done, but yesterday I filmed another video that'll go up this next week and uploaded, but I haven't scheduled it yet. Oh, if you're a content creator, are you running into the problem of when you upload it's going directly live? If you are, I have learned I have to now, I used to just upload it and go to bed and then deal with it in the morning for doing all of the stuff to it, your description and all that stuff. You cannot just do that anymore. It'll suddenly go live and there's nothing there, no print, no nothing. It's just all of a sudden it's a live video, which is weird because they don't want you to not have that stuff up there. And it used to be that you could have it scheduled to not go live, and it wouldn't. It would just go into private. It would go into unscheduled or something. I don't remember what it said, but it doesn't do that now. At least it hasn't on mine. And so I have had to wait till it uploads and then quickly switch it, or wait till the first part of the upload goes, and then when you hit the second button for it to start uploading, then I go into the settings in YouTube Studio and make sure it says unavailable until I do it. And what I did today was I made it available far in advance so that it won't accidentally go live before I have it ready to go, because I'll get all that stuff done tonight and then it'll be ready to go when it's supposed to go tomorrow. And yeah, so if you've had that problem, let me know, because it's a weird new thing, because I used to, like I said, I used to finish my videos, upload them after I edited them, and then I would wait until till the closed captioning was generated, and then I'd go and do the rest of it. Because yes, I cheat. I use ChatGPT to help me with getting the description, because I'm not really good at that part of it. I don't know how to, my formatting and my, my grammar sometimes is off, and so I want it to look nice, and I want people to understand and see things. And so yes, I do use it to help me with that, because all it's doing is summarizing what I've said, and it does it better than I can. So if people have a problem with that, I've heard people, I don't like people using AI. Well, there's a time and place for it. I've used it a little bit. My thumbnails are part AI, part Canva. Just because, I think everybody's been experimenting a little bit with different things, It is what it is. People are going to experiment with using AI, and sometimes it turns out nice, and sometimes it just looks a lot like AI. And I'm a diamond painter, I'm not an artist. Somebody made the comment, well, artists shouldn't want that because they're artists. I'm not an artist. I do diamond painting, I do quilting, I do stuff like that. I do stuff where I use other people's beautiful things and turn them into my beautiful things. Let's just be real here. I'm not an artist. I can't draw stick people. I have tried in the past to draw, but I am no artist. In any way, shape, or form am I an artist. Diamond painting is an interesting thing. I've had people get upset that somebody told them it wasn't a creative art. And, we got to be honest with ourselves. We're taking somebody else's drawing or picture, and we're gluing little diamonds on it, which, don't believe that. This takes time and energy, and I'm okay with it being somebody else's, masterpiece and me bringing it to life, That's what I like about it, is I don't have to be artistic. I don't have to have an artistic bone in my body to diamond paint. I just have to have the want to sit and do this, and I do want to sit and do this. I do enjoy diamond painting. So, anyways, I don't know how I got on that. Kimberly on a tangent. But, anyways, I am going to, as soon as I get these 3 10s down, I'm going to call it a session. because I got to scoop up my little Millie May and get in the car and get us some water before we go. Make sure we both got, she's got a water bottle, special water bottle. And get moving so that I can get her there early enough that I'm not there till 5 o'clock. That's what I don't want to do. If I get there early, I might be there waiting the same amount of time, but I'm not there for as long into the day. If I want to be home to make dinner. I was going to make chili today and I totally forgot. I won't spend $3 or something for a can of chili, but I'll spend the same amount of money to make it. A little bit more to make a nice pot of it. That's what I'm planning on tonight. It might just get made to be eaten this week, through the week. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and for commenting. I invite your comments. I thank you for making them. It really does make it feel more like a community when people are commenting and giving their 2 cents, so to speak. Even if you disagree with me, I don't think everybody has to agree with me. I could be 100% wrong. I don't know. Maybe what I'm saying is off my rocker to you and you don't get it, you know? Be nice about it, but you can tell me I'm off my rocker, but do so kindly, because you know, there's no reason to be mean. And that's the thing. I think we need to be able to have these conversations and realize that nobody's attacking anybody. Nobody's saying if you have 300 kits, you're wrong, or you shouldn't have 300 kits. If you want 300 kits and you're happy with that, and you've got the ability to do it, go for it. But I think that it's good to have the conversation, because sometimes when we learn or we start to realize what we're doing could be hurting us, not helping us, just in, you know, our finances, you know. Anyways, on that note, I've done all I can get done between now and I have like 4 minutes to scoop up the dog and head out the door. And so on that note, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, why not? I'm trying to get to my 1,000 subscribers, and I'm at, I think it was like 650 something, I don't know, the last time I looked. So I'm not that far away. So if you haven't subscribed and you're liking the content, please subscribe. It does help the channel. If you've never made a comment, and maybe you're a little shy to make a comment, put a dog emoji down there. Let me see that you were here and you watched the video. Isn't he fantastical? He's so pretty. I love, oh, let me turn this off so you can actually see it without all the, isn't that pretty? Where's the, it just glows, even with the lights out, it's even better. It's just amazing. But yeah, we've got a little bit in here and this, and we've only got 2 rows left. Yes. Anyways, thanks for watching.